Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Northern Soul Reaper and today we're going to be discussing Chapter 3 of Guardian of the Witch. Okay, so Chapter 3 of Guardian of the Witch. This one was, I felt like a little bit of a slow one, but that's not a bad thing because we got a ton of world building and lore in this one. So, to begin, Fafnir, Manasva and Nata are on the outside world. They are overlooking a barren wasteland, and Manasva is like, oh, so this is what the outside world looks like. She's like the first time she's ever been outside the city walls. And we also get a bit of a moment where she says, I had no idea the world was this big, and Fafnir and Nata kind of smile at her naivete, at sort of like taking in how big the world is. And then we get some story information, some lore from Nata, because in the last chapter she said that she knew of a way, or a possible way, to change a witch back to a human. So we get a little bit of a reveal there. So Nata wasn't actually just kind of idly sitting by waiting for Manasva's fate to basically ultimately become that of someone who has to die. She broke into a secret room in the basement of the rectory by using her lockpicking skills, because apparently she can lockpick, which is going to be super useful later on, I'm sure. And she found some old books, and one of the books said that the retired witch was used as an advisor in Noir. So this gives them two working theories. Number one, the seed of evil has been removed, hence curing her. So she's completely recovered, but that raises the question of what happened to the seed of evil. The second theory is the seed of evil was slowed considerably to the point where she was retired rather than executed, because it was a very specific use of the word retired, and that she's used as an advisor in Noir. So with this information, they decide to head to Noir to ask the retired witch, how is it that she was either cured, or how was the seed of evil stopped? So that is the new mission statement of our tag team. So the rector in Berne, while this is going on, has called in two people from the city-state of Steel. He's called in Ruli, the witch, and Gen, who is her guardian. And he has basically asked them to track down and apprehend the fugitives. And we get a scene where we see that the magic used by Ruli is metal magic. She conjures up a load of metal spikes out of the ground, as well as a huge blade in Gen's hands, and the rector's like, so this is the power of steel magic. So off the bat we're introduced to a new pair of witch and guardian, and we're also told that they're going after our team of witch and guardian and maid. So when they leave the rector, basically with their new mission to go out and find the fugitives, Ruli gives us a little bit of backstory in the form of explaining things to Gen. So we get a bit more information of why it is that a guardian is the only one that is allowed to kill a witch. The reason being that they develop a bond of trust whilst they're working together. So while the guardian's protecting the witch, and if anyone else tries to kill the witch, the shock and the stress of having done so could give birth to an ultimate powerful evil, and obviously they don't want that to happen. So they use the guardians to build up their trust and then kill the witch, because then it stops this ultimate evil being born. And Gen's a little bit chastised at this. He's like, it'd just be much easier if I could just kill them all. And he's basically, she's saying, you're a bit disappointed. And he says, no, this is going to be fun because we're chasing down the Fafnir and the Manasva. They held down the front lines against the evils. So it seems like our pair are quite the celebrities. The Flame Witch is all powerful, and it seems like she's got a bit of a reputation, as does Fafnir. And after this exchange, it cuts away to basically the only bit of action that we get in this chapter. Fafnir is basically cutting down an evil, and we find out that evils can disguise themselves as inanimate objects, because no one else realised it was there. It was basically hiding as a rock. But Fafnir kills it, takes it down, and then we are told that in order to get to Noir they have to travel to the far north, and they have to go to 7 villages on the way, and they've actually just arrived at the first village. And what's different about the villages is whilst the city-states are big, huge, walled, fortified cities, the villages just like they have rudimentary walls all the way around. And originally I thought maybe all the people were kind of in the walls, but it looks like we've got normal villages on the outside, and maybe he's not protected by the city-states, maybe they're independent. I guess we'll find out like in later chapters. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between the villages and the cities, if there is any at all. So as they prepare to enter the village, they get dressed up, they kind of put bandages on their heads, and Manasva puts a patch over the marking on her left cheek to cover up the seed, the markings of the seed of evil, to kind of make it just look like they're ordinary people. And then the last panel is Gen and Ruli on the tail of Manasva, Fafnir and Nada, and it basically ends with them saying that they think they should be upon them in a day or so. And then Gen says, as the final kind of closing lines is, "Oh, good, I'm starting to get excited. Gen the Great is going on a witch hunt." And that's where the chapter ends. I enjoyed this chapter. There wasn't a lot going on. It was quite slow, but I don't think that's a bad thing, especially in a manga like this where I feel like there's a lot to unpack. You know, each chapter is giving us a bit more and a bit more. I really like the addition of the 2 new Witch and Guardian team. Metal magic sounds awesome. It sounds like it's going to be a really cool fight when they run into each other. And I liked that we got a little bit more information from Nada of how a witch could be cured, or how the seed of evil could be slowed down. They're not quite sure yet. And it gives us, and we got a little bit of information. You know, we now know that there's a city-state of steel. I'm assuming it's a city-state of Noir. It doesn't. I'm not sure if it says city-state of just City of Noir, but I'm assuming that that's a city-state. And then we also got a big kind of reveal that in this wasteland that's surrounded and thwarted by evils, where they're trying to get into the city walls, there are villages surviving, lone civilization kind of pocketed around the land, in between the big cities. And I really like the idea that that there could be some play between the villages and the cities, and the politics of it all. Maybe the villages want to be left alone, maybe the cities want to kind of impose their will on them. I don't know yet, but it's exciting to see which way it'll go. Again, there wasn't a lot of action. There was literally like a page and a half of action, but what was there was really well drawn. The action sequence where Fafnir cuts down the evil, you kind of see the swishing of his sword through the evil, and it like traces the whole path. That is very reminiscent of early Bleach. Every panel of action had like a really nice flow to it, and that was like, when I was reading that, I was like, oh, that's like almost exactly how Tite Kubo would have drawn like a panel like that. That's a really good thing, because the art in Bleach was like, you know, top of its game at one point, you know. Yeah, so that's really it for this review. To summarise, really liked the lore and the new additions of characters that we got. Liked the kind of, that it didn't really focus too much on our heroes outside the walls, but I guess the fish out of water thing for Manasva is going to come when she goes to another city, so we're going to maybe get a little bit of that kind of comedy or storyline out of that. Moving forward, there's not a lot to do when it's just a barren wasteland. They've escaped the city, so they've got to get to the next place or settlement. They've got to have a goal, so that's how they're kind of pushing forward. I feel like a lot of the action is going to take place in cities and villages as they kind of go from one plan to the next. Action was really well drawn for what it was. The lore drops that we got were really good. I really enjoyed this chapter overall. It's building up very slowly. It feels like a bit of a slow burn from these first 3 chapters, but I'm really enjoying what we're getting so far, and I can't wait for chapter 4. If you've read chapter 3, if you've read the series so far, leave me a comment what you think so far. Drop some theories in there. What do you think about the villages? I'm still interested to know what you guys think about what other types of witches there might be. We've now got the flame witch and the metal magic witch. So let me know what you think. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. If you subscribe and ring that bell, it's the best way to get the content as and when it comes out. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and until next time, Goodbye.